So you want to roll a Druid? Well, here's what you need to know. Druids are the emissaries of nature, friend of flora and fauna, and masters of primal magic. They're the go-to class for furries, stoners, and eco-terrorists. They are also the best class in the game. Actually, Thaumaturge is the best class in the game, but Druid is the best to me. I love shapeshifting. I love party role versatility. I love terminally online e-girls who make me question what I'm willing to do for love. That last one wasn't relevant, I just overshare sometimes. Once you've hugged enough trees and attended enough deli counter funerals, nature starts giving you all kinds of cool powers, like storing weapons and seeds, raising statues to dampen non-primal magic, and making your body biologically immortal. You can also add some creepypasta skinwalker flavor if that's your thing. Just don't let me hear any of you use the word wingdussy, or I'll start snatching books away faster than a Florida public school. Of course, the real flavor comes from your order, which is where you decide what aspect of nature you most revere. At least it would be if there were more than one to choose. If you're playing a druid and you're not in the Untamed Order, then you're playing it wrong. Anything else is just a cleric for people who say they're spiritual but not religious. Shapeshifting is as iconic to druids as sneak attack is to rogues, or literacy to barbarians. So what if every spellcaster has access to battle form spells? Druids do it with a focus point. Not only that, but they get a bonus to their attack rolls if they use their own rather than the spells. Add in the extra AC and HP turning into a bear gives you, and you're on par, if not better than, just about every martial class in both offense and defense. And if you get tired of being a bear, you can just pick up any of the feats that grant you new forms, combining most of the battle forms in the game into one focus spell. Dinos, elementals, dragons, you name it. Even motherfucking Godzilla. There really is no better choice when it comes to order. But in the interest of pretending I'm not biased as fuck, I'll assume you have some reason to not pick the best order. Let's look at the second best order. Animal. You get a little guy, though not as little as the witch or wizard's little guys. Through feats, your little guy becomes a bigger guy who you can order to stand between you and anything that doesn't like you. I'm sure some of you heard free pet and were automatically sold in the animal order. For the rest of you, I've got two words: action economy. But maybe you're more of a plant parent. In that case, you can give Leaf Order a shot and nab yourself a pet Leshy. Fun fact, Leshies are a common ancestry and viable druids. I'll leave you to ponder the implications. I fully expected this to be the healer subclass, especially considering the initial focus spell. Sadly, the only other healing this order gets is either self-only or requires you to Leroy Jenkins your familiar. Instead, you get a menagerie of plant-based powers, like turning into a tree with fists, or turning into just enough of a tree to get damage resistances. And what kind of plant-based spellcaster would you be if you couldn't fill the entire surrounding area with entangling, spiky death? You don't need to save the trees. You need to be saved from the trees. Why doesn't this order let me make tornadoes? Don't get me wrong, it does everything else you'd expect a sky-themed subclass to do. Shoot lightning, fly, control the weather. It's just weird, especially since it's pulling double duty as the air subclass, that it isn't capable of creating the most powerful and iconic phenomenon of air. At best, they get a Gok Gok 9000 that literally takes your breath away. So if you want to roleplay as Nancy Reagan, you know which subclass to pick. Now let's say you thought Fandral Staghelm made some good points. For you, there's the Flame Order. You know what's funny? Sometimes you read a feat and you think, I didn't know I couldn't already do that. Maybe I'm just too video game pilled, but this is one of those things I'd never think to make rules for because it doesn't lend itself to what I would consider the core experience. But I'm aware that there are some players out there who enjoy a bit of realism in their Monsters and Magic game. So I think it's kind of cool that Paizo has a little something for them as well. The rest of the order is pretty straightforward. Step 1, find someone you don't like, someone who doesn't like you, or just a random patch of dirt. Step 2, put on Arsonist's Lullaby and
sets that shit on fire!
Oh look, another thing I didn't realize I needed a feat to do. Walk through puddles. Am I underestimating how often difficult terrain comes up? Because spending my only focus point to avoid it while moving slightly faster than walking feels very underwhelming. You know what else feels underwhelming? A shitty swim speed 1 level before I get it as a spell that does it better. I do like the 2-for-1 healing feat, Overall though, I'd say save this order for an aquatic campaign or whenever you need to practice your Orange County Surfer Dude impression. Remember that scene in Squid Game where they shot you if you moved when the doll was looking at you? Stone Order is kinda like that, except it's rocks and it's whenever they feel like it. This is the only subclass I'm aware of where you're low-key required to play a specific ancestry to get the full effect. Then again, who uses rock magic and isn't playing a dwarf? Next you're gonna tell me you play orcs that aren't barbarians, or Nephilim that aren't Mary Sues you write fanfiction about on your secret Wattpad account. What's the point? At their core, Druids are all about harmony. Not just harmony between the natural and civilized worlds, but harmony in your adventuring party as well. They ensure this harmony by being able to fulfill whatever role your party needs. The primal spell list is a mixed bag of offensive and defensive spells, meaning the only thing separating a support druid from a blastercaster druid is a good night's sleep. If your front line could use an extra body, you can fill that slot yourself or with proxies. Your subclass can specialize you to a degree, but really, you're like a switch at an orgy. Whatever needs doing, you can do it, and everyone will love you for it. Unless you RP as that annoying vegan stereotype, in which case the only thing you can go fuck is yourself.